It's a great day when you get to buy a new car, and that's what we're driving to. Okay, it's not a new car, it's a new old car, but in this video, we're hopefully going to try to buy a vehicle off of Craigslist, and I'm not buying it. In fact, I'm going to help the guy behind the camera, Cole, buy a new car, and we're going to go through the process of kind of giving you the lessons that I've learned over the last 12 years of buying way too many cars. So let's talk about what we're doing. So Cole, who's behind the camera, has a 1999 Toyota RAV4 with about 200,000 miles on it and issues like brakes. And he wants to upgrade, and he was able to get about $10,000 for his budget to go buy a newer vehicle. So we found a 2007 RAV4 with about 87,000 miles, don't quote me on that, for sale. And what we're going to do is we're going to go look at it, and hopefully, if all goes well, we're going to buy it. So let's talk about, well, before we get there, the kind of things that I look for when trying to buy a new used car. All right, so let's talk about what are good practices and good ideas when buying a used car. So first and foremost, I hate buying cars from dealerships, and there's about 110 reasons. That could be its own video why I hate buying cars from dealerships, especially used cars. But the biggest reason is you're always going to pay about 20 to 40% over market value of the vehicle. So in general, if you buy it from a private party, you're paying what the private party value is versus all the upcharges that a dealer has to do, which is things like, of course, paying for their dealership, their staff, their electricity, yada, yada, yada. So it's a lot cheaper to buy it from a private party. You get more car for less money. And the way you figure out that is you can go to like kbb.com, and you could ask the website to spit out the private party value or trade-in value, and that'll kind of give you the difference between what the car is worth on the open market when it's sold by an individual versus what the car is worth when it's sold by a dealer. Now this car is asking for, or this owner is asking for $9,900, so just under 10K. It's a 2007 RAV4 with about, like I said, 80,000 plus miles on it. Now I KBB'd it before I even came out here, and what I found was the KBB says the private party value at its highest, it gives you a range, is worth about 9,100. So he's asking about 800 over the private party value, which is fine because KBB, I found, especially after the pandemic, tends to be like 10% on the low range of things. So if he's, or if she is not over, let's say, more than $1,000 or $2,000 on a $10,000 car, that seems to be about where the market value is. So I feel confident that this individual is asking a fair amount for the vehicle. Now, one of the other things I like when buying a vehicle, of course, is I like to see original owner. I like to see a listing that is complete with everything that's been done to the car, and this listing had all that. So it kind of gave you the history of the car, it gave you what was done, what needed to be done, and the one little red flag was that it has been in an accident, so we'll have to make sure we're okay with that. But usually small accidents that are fixed professionally are fine. It's when you have problems like rebuilt titles or salvage titles that you just want to tend to walk away from. And you'd be surprised how easy it is to stumble upon a car, especially on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, that has a rebuilt or a salvage title, and that's because they tend to stand out because they're the cheapest vehicles out there. The problem with rebuilt or salvage titles, especially salvage titles, is that you can't insure them. So, you know, what's the point of having a car that you can't insure? So keep away from that. Now, Cole, who I passed along this ad to, has been texting and emailing back and forth with the owner, but he hasn't talked to him. Personally, I like to talk to the person. That's maybe a generational thing. Cole's, you know, much younger than me, but I like to talk to him because I kind of want to make sure that they're not a serial killer. I want to make sure that they're kind of normal and that they kind of understand that this is a, you know, a regular transaction that we're taking part in. If they come across as thinking that they have one of only one car made in the world, I walk away from them. And basically my bottom line is, if I talk to him on the phone and I don't like the owner, or I don't like the vibe that the owner is giving me, I walk away from it. It's not worth going to look at the car, no matter how cheap, no matter how perfect, if the owner's being, you know, douchey about it. So we haven't talked to this guy, but, you know, he seems to be okay, so we shall see when we get there. So that's one of the unknowns. The other thing that I look for when buying a used car is as much of a history on the car as possible. So there are a bunch of questions I ask, and they break down to like 5 basic questions. First and foremost, can you tell me the history of it? If they can tell you the history of it, if they've had it in the family, and this car has been in the family, that's a great sign, because it means usually the car has been taken care of. If you see the ad with temporary plates, or if they just bought it, then the first red flag immediately is, why are you selling it if you just bought it? And the answer to that usually is they bought it badly and they found out that there was something critically wrong with it that's going to cost more than the car to repair. So walk away from those. So first question, what's the history of the car? Second question, rust. You can fix mechanical things. Brakes are easy to fix. Mechanical stuff is generally easy to repair. And what I mean by easy, I mean expensive. Rust, very expensive to repair. If it needs any body work whatsoever, I walk away from it. Even a small rust repair can be in the thousands of dollars. And when you're buying a car that's $10,000 or less, if the cost of the vehicle is, let's say $10,000, if the repair is $5,000, what's the point? So next question, rust. If there's rust, walk away from it. Here's the really critical one, clean title. Oftentimes, cars by private individuals are being sold for their cousins or their passed away parents, or those are deceased spec, I like to call them. The problem with those is if they didn't sign the title over, you can spend years trying to go to the DMV and get the title assigned. Once again, not worth the hassle. It has to be a clean title, has to be registerable. If it's not, walk away from it. Then I like to ask about, why are they selling it? That's always a very telling question. So I always ask, why are you selling it? And the reason I ask, why are you selling it, is because it kind of gives me an insight into why they are selling it. And if the reason is there's something so critically wrong in that car that it's going to cost me more to repair, I don't want to buy that car, because then I'm going to be the one on the hook trying to sell it. So why are you selling it? If the answer is we bought a bigger car, which is the reason that this seller is selling it, then that's a great answer. They just need to move on to the next car. And then, of course, the final question that I like to ask immediately is, does everything work? So oftentimes, it's interesting how sellers forget about the fact that it's got a check engine light. And here in Colorado, that means you can't register it, because that's an immediate fail for emissions. Does everything work? Does the air conditioner work? Do the windows work? Do the lights work? And if there's something wrong with it, that's also a telling sign, especially if they don't tell you, that you may want to walk away from it. And one of the things that we have yet to determine here is, of course, can it pass emissions? Because in Colorado, we have to do emissions, and if it doesn't pass emissions, then you're going down this rabbit hole trying to figure out what the problem with it is, and then once again, it gets expensive, especially under $10,000. So hopefully when we meet this seller, I'm going to get a sense for what the person's like. If we like the person, then we'll talk about taking the car for a ride, and then the next video we'll kind of do a walk around of the car. I'll kind of try to point out things that I look at. Of course, everybody says take it to a mechanic, have them check it out, but good God, that is so hard to accomplish. I mean, if you're retired and you've got time to do that, and if the seller is willing to do it, of course take it to a mechanic. But in real world terms, when we do real world reviews, it's almost impossible to do that. So you're going to have to rely on me and my experience. And usually, because I've been doing this for so long, I can walk up to a car and I can get an immediate sense of whether this is a good car, whether it's been taken care of. And so that's what we'll try to figure out next. And then, of course, the final thing is we'll try to negotiate. And just so you guys know, the average negotiating number on Craigslist is 10%. So if the owner's asking, in this case, $9,900, you'd expect about $1,000 to come off the price when you're negotiating for it. That's kind of what the standard is on Craigslist. That doesn't mean you can do it. Toyotas, especially RAV4s and 4Runners, are really popular cars. They're mid-size crossovers. People really like them here in Colorado. They're all-wheel drive. So, you're buying a car that's kind of in a hot segment where it suits a lot of people's needs, and so your negotiating room may be a little smaller, but let's find out and let's see if it's worth negotiating. All right, we're gonna go check it out next. All right, so here's a car. This is Scott, the owner. Scott, thank you very much for being on camera.
You're welcome.
Kind of walking us through the car. So let's go by the car.
Yep.
And tell me about the history of the car. How long have you guys had this?
Yeah, so my father bought it in 2007,
Yep.
brand new,
Yep.
in Michigan.
Okay.
He had it for 10 years, only put 36,000 miles on it. He went into assisted living, and then I got it, and I've had it for the last 5 years.
Now, the thing that really I like about this, and this is probably not important, but it is important
Yep.
to me, it's the V6. So I was telling you
Uh-huh.
the story where I went to a racetrack, and they're kind of run what you brung, and the V6 in this car is definitely over-engined. It's way too much power, and this thing went up against the BMW, went up against an Audi, and it just kicked butt on all that. So a lot of engine. So can I show me the records? You say you kept meticulous records.
Yeah, you
right?
bet. You bet. So
This is what I love to see. I love when people keep records and they,
yeah, I've got the printed copies of service records and stuff in here.
Yep.
But then I just kind of keep a cheat sheet for myself, so I
Okay.
know what major stuff was done. So the battery got 3 years ago. I've had sway bar replaced, those kind of things.
So you said there is a problem though. One of the struts is leaking.
Front strut is leaking.
Okay.
Yep. Doesn't affect anything other than you might feel a few more bumps.
Okay.
Unless they were new.
Okay. And then how about brakes? When's the last time you've done those?
Yeah. So front brakes were 20 or 40,000. Let's see here.
Let me pop the hood so I can
Yeah.
see the hood.
So right now the mileage on it is 85,000.
Yep.
Front brakes were done at 48,000.
Okay.
Rear were done at 64,000.
That's great to know. And then I love the fact that it looks like it's got almost brand new tires, but you've detailed the underneath, so it looks really clean. Have you had any problems with it?
No.
No, nothing?
I laugh because I haven't. I haven't done anything mechanical to it since I've had it.
Okay.
Just regular maintenance to it.
Yep.
And like I said, if I were keeping it for the next 5 years or so, I'd get the struts done. I was planning on doing that next year.
Yeah, I love the tires. They're in really great shape.
Only 5,000 miles on the tires.
Yeah, yeah. The paint's a little tired. I love the color of the paint, but there are places where there's scuffs. And then, like I said, the thing that I noticed was here, where this bit of trim has fallen off. Does it affect anything?
No.
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 No?
Just cosmetic.
All right.
For a 15-year-old vehicle.
You want to show them the inside, Cole? Now this is a 4-wheel drive.
This is 4-wheel drive. Yep. It kicks off at 25 miles an hour.
And what kind of fuel economy are you getting? Do you keep track of that?
I don't keep track. I know. In fact, I think I got the sticker in here.
Okay. You got the sticker.
21 city, 27 highway, I think it is.
You got the sticker. That's incredible.
I do. Well, you know what? It's at home.
Okay, but you have the
But
sticker.
I've got. Here it is. Here's a copy of it right here. Yeah, 21 city, 28 highway.
Yeah. So there you go. Yeah. So it was 25,000 new. At least 25,000 something, right?
Yeah, I think it was 27. Yeah.
Yeah. And there you have
Back in 2007.
3.5 liter, 5-speed, 4-wheel drive, manual lock, which is cool. And hill assist, I saw that, the little button in there for that. It's really neat that you got the original sticker. And then, like I was saying, the other thing I saw that I was a little concerned about was there was a lot of use here. So you said you use it for hauling?
Yeah, so bookcase, helping people move,
Yeah.
or picking stuff up for myself.
But there's a lot of room in the back.
There's a ton of room. You can get 8-foot lumber in here.
This is one Toyota built.
Bookcases.
Built very. There's space there.
Roof rack is great for additional luggage if you need to carry a bag on top.
And then what's the shape of the spare tire? Could I take a look at that?
Yeah, spare tire's in good shape. About every year and a half, the low tire pressure sensor goes off. And
there's a tire sensor, TPMS. in
yeah,
there.
and that's for the one, because when it first came on, I'm checking all my tires, filled them up, and it still came on. Went in there. Yep, here's the rear.
Well, can I take it for a ride?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's all go.
Yep.
Yeah, why don't you jump in the back? Cole,
Yeah,
jump
you bet.
next to me. I'll take it for a ride. Let's go for a ride.
Key here for you.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. And I'll let Cole drive it because it'll be his car.
Yeah, I'll hop
if
in
he
the back,
buys it.
guys. That's
But
totally fine.
Come on with us. And you got both keys too, which is nice.
I do. Yep.
Oh, that's great. And does this work?
It does. It's I bought it aftermarket, so it's not Toyota, so it's a little jumpy. It doesn't work all the time. But a lot of times it's just holding it down long enough.
Is this the spare key?
That is the spare. Correct.
Okay, all right, so this guy works. Okay, so we'll go. That sounds good. So you said to make 4-wheel drive work, you put it in 4 and then flip it over, and that turns on.
And then hit the button, the lock button up there. There you
Okay,
go.
and that turns on 4-wheel drive.
It sure does.
And how's it in the winter?
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I only commute with it, so I'm only like 12 minutes away from work. So I don't go very far in it, but it gets around fine. To me, it seems like the tires make the biggest difference in the world. When you have good tires, you can get around in a 2-wheel drive.
It's funny when people come to Colorado, they ask me like, "What's the most important thing?" And I say, "New tires." You're really going to want good tires in Colorado.
Yeah.
You're exactly right, because we get a lot of snow, and it melts right away. But when we get it, we get it. You know what I mean?
That's
you're
right.
driving on snow. Yeah, so where can I take it? What would you recommend?
Why don't you take a left over here?
Okay.
And take a left on Broadway.
Okay.
We can go up to the highway, see 470, and see what the acceleration's like.
Yeah, let's try it. That's a good idea. So left again,
Yeah.
and let's just make sure everything kind of works.
Yep.
So let's try. I don't think we're going to figure out if the air conditioning works because it's cold outside. But let's make sure the radio works.
Like asking your healthcare provider.
Yeah, it certainly works. Pre-programmed.
Yep.
It's got a CD.
I know, it does.
Headlights work. Cruise control works.
Uh-huh.
Mirrors left.
I can't think of
Those
a
work?
thing that doesn't work on this.
Yeah, that's great. Power steering works, which is great. I mean, actually,
Yeah, they haven't changed this vehicle all that much.
Yeah, that is quick.
Oh yeah, and you're
I'm
going.
I'm just gently. Yeah.
Yeah,
using
you
the
hit
throttle.
it and it'll take off. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I think the brakes are getting a little weak. I think there might be I think we might have to get brakes on this.
I would.
It
if
feels
I were
like.
buying it.
Yeah, it feels like it needs brakes. But the engine seems very strong. The steering is good. Like the steering wheel, not too much use on it. You can usually tell how old the car is by how many, how much people have spent their time. Yeah, that's,
Feel it there.
yeah, yeah, I can feel that there.
It's a fun car to drive.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I locked the truck. Did I lock the truck? I'm gonna go back.
Yep, that's fine.
Yeah, sorry, because I have my phone in there.
Totally fine. I would too.
And then we'll let you drive it, okay? You good with that? Cole says he's good with that. We'll let him drive it. Yeah, I don't know if I locked the truck. Oh, this is quick. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen them make too many changes on the RAV4. The biggest one that I've seen between older and newer vehicles is the back tailgate.
Yeah.
They now go up like everybody else's does. This
Yeah,
goes
instead
off
of
to the
swing
side.
Open, yeah, and that's always awkward because sometimes if you're parked on the wrong side of the
Yeah.
street, yeah, it can be rough. All right. So would you take 9,000 for it?
I'd like to get at least, I could go 9.5.
Okay. All right. How about 9.3?
How about we meet in the middle? 9.4?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cole, are you good with that? You got the thumbs up. You know what sold me on it? When you said that you had done emissions.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. I think most people don't know, but in the state of Colorado, the seller is responsible for emissions, and it's a big deal because, once again, if you get it wrong, you're not doing it. So, congratulations, Cole. Congratulations,
Thanks,
Scott.
Roman.
Shall
Congratulations,
we go
Cole.
do some paperwork?
Yeah, sounds good.
You are like the exemplary owner, person with all the records, the Carfax, you've got the emissions, you've got a car. Cole, has saved $600, $500, so he can go do the brakes, which I think he's doing.
Smart move.
Which is good.
Yep.
And he's got a car that I think will be good for the next 5 years.
Oh, man. Yep.
And it's speedy.
However long, I mean, you could sell this in 5 years and still sell it for a few thousand, which would be great.
Yeah, all right, cool. Hey guys, we're here at Freddy's enjoying a little celebratory hamburger after Cole got a new car. Now, Cole wants me to let you know that he's very happy with the car, and I want to let you know that I understand that RAV4 is all-wheel drive all the time. So I know Scott was a little confused. I didn't want to contradict him on camera, but basically the way that works is it's all-wheel drive all the time. I think it might be front-wheel drive most of the time, and then if it slips, you get rear-wheel drive. That's how cars of that era work. And that button basically allows you to lock the center diff, giving you 50-50 power distribution when you're off-roading with it. So you don't get that kind of front-wheel drive / rear-wheel drive when the front wheels slip. Now the other thing that you might be wondering, you're going to say 9,400. I could have bought one of those with, tic-tac money in my state. Maybe. Keep in mind we're in Colorado, and Toyotas and all-wheel drive cars in December carry a premium. So while to some of you that may seem like a lot, in Colorado, a Toyota that's all-wheel drive all the time is always going to carry a premium. And if that car had been at a dealership, it would have been $3,000 or $4,000 more. It's a Toyota, it's all-wheel drive, and it's kind of in that right size, right space where it works as a first car for a new driver or a car for an empty nester. So those cars are always carrying a premium. But I think in the end, nobody got murdered. Scott was a great seller, and it all turned out.